Hi guys, this is Sadek from TWRP.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to relock the bootloader on any Xiaomi, Poco, Redmi or Mi phone. Do note that the steps are quite lengthy. It's not just that you could simply flash the firmware via the Mi Flash tool and choose the flash all.log file. You have to carry out a few additional tweaks, and in this video, I'll be discussing all that steps. So first and foremost, let me show you my phone bootloader is currently unlocked. There are quite a few ways of checking that. There are, in fact, you could check via 5 methods. I have listed all the 4 methods over here. In fact, there are 6 methods, but the easiest of all is to simply go to about phone, then go to detailed info and tap on MIUI version 7 times, then go back, again go back. Now you have to go to additional settings, then go to developer option, and as of now you could see that the OEM unlocking is enabled and the bootloader is already unlocked. As you could see in my case, the bootloader is unlocked on my phone. So I will now relock the bootloader on my Xiaomi phone. I am doing the steps on a Poco F4 running the latest MIUI 14 based on Android 13, but the steps are applicable across all the Android phones running any Android version. Moreover, the steps will wipe off all the data from your phone, so make sure to take a backup beforehand. Once that is done, let's get started. So our first course of action is to remove all the modules, whether it's the Magis module, LS Post modules, LS Patch module or any other modules. For instance, in my case, I might have an LS Post module. So this is the LS Post app. Go to the module section and just long press on them and select uninstall. Then tap on OK. Likewise, do the same for the other module and remove all the modules for the LS Post if there's any. Then likewise you have to do the same with the Magis module as well. Simply launch the Magis app and go to the module section, then disable all the modules and tap on remove. Apart from that, if you have any other APK files installed such as the Viper for Android or any other mods which require root, make sure to uninstall and remove all the modules. Once that is done, you will have to restart your phone. So let's now carry out the restart. You could do a restart from the Magis app itself. So select reboot and our phone will now restart. After the restart, while our phone will still be rooted, but all the modules will be gone. So we could then move ahead with the next step. So next up, we will now have to unroot our phone. In other words, remove the root and the Magis app from our Xiaomi phone. So let's just wait for our phone to boot up and then we'll proceed ahead with the next step. So it will take up to a few seconds only, and with this our phone is booted up, and now we'll have to remove the Magis from our phone. So launch the Magis app. Just a minute, let's launch the Magis app. Now tap on uninstall Magis and select complete uninstall, and it will now remove all the Magis and all the files from your phone. And once that is done, it will take 5 seconds and then restart your phone. So let's just wait for the time frame, and as you could see, my phone will undergo a reboot, and upon a subsequent restart, all the Magis related apps and its system frameworks in the backend will be removed from our phone. And with this, we have removed the root from our phone. So now that the root is gone, we will again perform a double check that there are no modules or rooted apps there on our phone. If there are any apps, then we should remove that apps right away, because even if 1 or 2 apps are there on your phone and you have relocked the bootloader, then there are high chances of the phone being end up in a boot loop or a soft brick state. So it's highly recommended to double check that you don't have any modules remaining and your phone is now non-rooted. So as you could see, I don't have any. The Magis app is now removed from my phone. So at the very most, I have an LS Post app which will not work as of now. As you could see, it's not installed. But still, let me remove it from my phone. So let me still uninstall the app from my phone. So make sure to remove all such rooted apps that you have if there's any. So as of now, my phone is no longer rooted by a Magis and I don't have any Magis linked app as well. So with this, the root is now gone from our phone. And our next course of action, which is the most important one, is to remove the TWRP recovery from your phone if it is installed. If you don't have it installed, then you could move over to the next step. So in my case and in most cases, you might be having a TWRP recovery installed onto your phone. So you will need to remove the TWRP recovery and replace it with the stock recovery. In most cases, simply flashing the Fastboot ROM via the Mi Flash tool might get this job done, but it's quite risky. Therefore, I'll recommend two approaches. The first approach is if you are aware of the partition in which you have flashed the recovery, then you could easily get this job done by simply flashing the file of the stock firmware. For example, if you are aware that your phone has a recovery partition and you have flashed TWRP to the recovery partition, then simply extract the stock recovery file from the stock firmware and flash it onto your phone, and with this the recovery will be flashed onto your phone. On the other hand, if you flash the recovery to the boot partition, then simply extract the boot IMG from the Fastboot ROM and flash it onto your phone, and with this the custom recovery will be replaced by the stock recovery and the TWRP recovery will be gone. However, if you are not aware of the partition in which you have flashed the recovery, for example, if you are not sure whether it was the recovery partition or the vendor boot or the boot partition, then it's highly recommended that you go through each of these three guides. However, if you don't want to do that task, then there is one more approach. What you could do is you could flash the Fastboot ROM a couple of times. During the first time, while flashing the Fastboot ROM, you have to make sure that the bootloader remains unlocked. So in that case, let me show you a screenshot. So you will have to flash the Fastboot ROM 2 times. So in the first flashing, make sure to select clean all. This will flash the Fastboot ROM but leave the bootloader in an unlocked state. Then upon the subsequent flashing, you could choose the clean all and lock, but for the first time, please select the clean all only and then flash the firmware. It will automatically flash the stock firmware and the TWRP recovery will be replaced by the stock recovery. This is only recommended for those users who are not sure of the recovery partition in which they have flashed the custom recovery. If you are sure that you have flashed the custom recovery in the recovery partition, then simply extract the recovery.img file. In my case, I am using a Poco F4 and I am sure that my phone does not have a recovery partition. So instead I have used the boot partition. Apart from that, I will also need a vendor boot and a DTBO file. So your first course of action should be to download the same firmware which is currently installed onto your phone. This is extremely important. So go to settings menu, and as you could see, my phone is MIUI 14.0.5 TLMINXM. So download the same firmware. For downloading, for that you could use the official Xiaomi firm or the unofficial Xiaomi firmware updater website. So get hold of the firmware, and once you have got the firmware, it will be in the .tgz format. So you might need to install the 7-zip extractor. Then right click on it and select show more option. Then select 7-zip and extract to, and this will extract the file, and you will get a couple of other folders, and now you will get a .tar file. So again select on .tar file and then right click on it, select show more option. Now select 7-zip and again select extract to, and with this you will get the images file. And in my case there is no recovery partition, so I'll going to the images folder and I will using 3 files, which is the boot file. Just a minute. So the boot, the DTBO and the vendor boot. So if you have flashed the recovery in the boot partition, then you have to use these 3 files. On the other hand, if you have flashed the recovery to the recovery partition, then you have to use the recovery.img. If in your case there is no recovery.img, it signifies that the recovery partition might be missing from your phone, and hence you haven't flashed the recovery in the recovery partition. Then you might have flashed the recovery in the boot partition, or the best way to verify the same is I'll again recommend you to go through all my 3 guides. But still, if you are unsure, then simply flash the Fastboot ROM via the Mi Flash tool, but select the clean all option while you are flashing the Fastboot ROM. In other words, please make sure to choose the clean all option and then flash the firmware. Once you do so, the bootloader will remain unlocked and the flashing will get complete. Once the flashing is complete, your phone will boot to the OS, and this time you will get the stock recovery. So with that said, in my case, I am quite aware of my phone and there is no recovery partition, so I am using the vendor boot and the DTBO files. So first off, download the platform tools folder and extract them onto your PC. So as you could see, this is the platform tools folder on my PC. Next up, in my case, I have to use these files as I've told you before. So it's the boot, DTBO and vendor boot. So copy all these 3 files and paste it in the platform tools folder. If in case you are flashing the recovery file, then make sure to paste the recovery.img file in this folder. Once you have got these files, you will now have to flash the file. So for that, you have to boot your phone to fastboot mode. So make sure to enable USB debugging on your phone. Once you have done so, type in cmd in the address bar of platform tools folder. And now you have to type in, before that, make sure that the USB has been set to file transfer. So change node data transfer to file transfer, and with this debugging has been also enabled. Let's verify the same. So go to detailed info and specs and tap on MIUI version 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now a developer. So now go back and go to additional settings, and you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to USB debugging. Now type in ADB devices and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. Next up, type in ADB reboot bootloader and hit enter. And with this, your phone should now boot into the fastboot mode, and it will take only a few seconds. So let's just wait for the time frame. Just to repeat, as of now, I am removing the TWRP recovery and going back to the stock recovery. So as of now, we are in the fastboot mode. So let's verify the same. So type in fastboot devices and hit enter. Make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you are not getting any ID, then you will have to install fastboot drivers. I have given a guide and a video on the same. You could refer to my guide and install the drivers. Next up, in my case, I have to flash all these 3 files. So I have already written the command for these files. Do note that these commands are only applicable for those phones in which the recovery has been flashed to the boot partition. So which is the case in my phone. So let me now flash all these 3 files. And with this, I should be back to the stock recovery. It will take a few seconds to flash. So let's just wait. So guys, on that note, I have flashed all these 3 files, and TWRP recovery should now be replaced by the stock recovery. Let me now verify the same. So let's type in fastboot reboot recovery and hit enter. And this time around, my phone should boot to the stock recovery instead of the TWRP recovery. So let's verify the same. So if in your case, so as you could see, my phone has now booted to stock recovery. So this means I have now remove the TWRP recovery. Now you could press the volume key to select reboot, and again press the volume key to select, the power key to select reboot, and again press the power key to select reboot to system. And with this, our phone is now booted to the OS. So if in your case, your phone has a recovery partition, then you don't need to execute these 3 commands. Instead of these 3 commands, simply paste the recovery.img file in the platform tools folder, and you just have to type in the command. Let me show you. It should be fastboot flash recovery and the name of the recovery, which is recovery.img. So if you are flashing the stock recovery to the recovery partition, then simply use this command and the job will be complete. So anyways, with that said, we have now checkmarked the first requirement. So we have removed all the modules. After that, we have removed the root from our phone as well, and our phone is no longer rooted. And then we have removed the TWRP recovery as well. So with that said, we have checkmarked the requirements, and now we could move over to the next step, to the relock the bootloader via Mi Flash tool. But before that, let's verify that we have removed all the rooted binary files. For that, there is an app. Let me search for that app. It's named as Ruru. It's an open source app, and I have made a guide on the same as well. Okay, so this is my guide and a video. So it will only take a few seconds. So let's just verify that all the major apps of root has been removed from my phone. So let's download the app from GitHub. I will be linking this app in this entire guide onto my phone. You could go to the GitHub page, expand the asset section, and download the APK. Once you have got the APK, simply transfer the APK file onto your phone. So let me do that as well. And our phone should now be visible onto our PC in a matter of few seconds. So it should now be visible, and it's visible. So let's now copy the Ruru app from here and simply paste it onto our phone. You could also directly download the app onto your phone itself. So with this, we have got the Ruru app. This app is used to check whether we have any rooted apps remaining or not onto our phone. Okay, so I already have this app installed onto my phone. Let me now launch this app. The Xiaomi will perform its own check. Let's just wait for a few more seconds. So let's now open the app, and as you could see, we have checkmarked most of the requirements except for two. The first one is a suspicious environment in the abnormal environment. So what's suspicious is the TWRP recovery. So it's still finding out that I have a custom recovery installed onto my phone. That's quite strange. Anyways, let's see what else it's finding out. And the last one is the settings prop, in which it's asking for the developer mode. So we could now easily ignore this because it's just the developer mode which is required to execute ADB command. Anyways, let me show you that as well. If I now turn off the developer mode, that toggle will be gone. So let me show you that. If I turn off developer options and go back, and now if I launch the app from here, just a minute, let me show you. So as you could see, so let's just relaunch. Okay, it's also requiring the USB debugging to be disabled. So we'll have to turn off both this toggle and then restart our phone. So let me do so quickly and then I'll be back. So just a minute. Let me re-enable both this toggle. So first off, the debugging is disabled as well. Let me disable developer option, and just for the sake, let me restart my phone once, and then the data will be refreshed, and after that we could proceed ahead to the next step. So this check is not compulsory, it's just optional, but still let's perform it and check out the result. Our phone is now restarting. Upon a restart, we will once again do a recheck and then check out the result if it's working or not. So let's just wait for a few more seconds and then we'll proceed ahead with the next step. In some cases, I have seen it giving a false positive. In other words, the result might not be actually true as to what it's showing. So I'll show you what that means as well. So as you could see, we have not checkmarked the last settings prompt as well because we have turned off the developer option. So we have checkmarked all the requirements except for the one requirement, which is the TWRP. Apart from that, the exposed, ls post, magisk, SCU, super binary, all the others have been removed. In order to remove the TWRP as well, which I have already done, it might require flashing the stock firmware or doing a factory reset to completely remove all the firmware. But as I have shown you before, upon using the Fastboot reboot recovery command, my phone boots to the stock recovery and not to the custom recovery. So this signifies that the TWRP has already been turned off onto our phone, or rather been removed from our phone. So let's just ignore this and proceed ahead with the next step. So let me quickly re-enable developer option as well once again, and then we could proceed ahead with the next step. So let me re-enable USB debugging, checkmark I am aware of all the risk, and tap on OK. So as I was saying, in my case, I have re-verified and double checked that the TWRP recovery has been removed from my phone. But even then, the app is still showing that TWRP is installed onto my phone. It's just a false positive and nothing to worry about. So let me still, so in that case, you could simply ignore that. But please make sure to double check that that is exactly the case and it's not showing a negative message. I have double checked that it's not installed onto my phone, so I could now move ahead with the next step. So just make sure that whatever error or warning is showing, re-verify that it's not there onto your phone, and only then proceed ahead with the next step. So let me once again launch the app and So it's just the TWRP recovery. We could simply ignore this and move ahead with the next step. So let's now proceed ahead. So now that we have verified that most of the, or rather all the apps, router apps are now gone from our phone, we could now proceed ahead and with the next step and flash the Fastboot ROM, and along with that we'll have to choose the clean all and lock option. I will show you that as well. But before moving ahead, make sure to download the Fastboot ROM which correspond to the firmware version on your phone. At least download the same version which is installed onto your phone or a higher version. Please don't download the lower version because that will end up in a anti-rollback protection or ARB. So to avoid that from happening, make sure to download at least the same version or a higher version. Once that is done, let's now proceed ahead and flash the firmware and lock the bootloader on our phone. So let me show you how that could be done. So just a minute. So from here, download the Mi Flash tool and extract them onto your PC. So it should look something like this. Let me show you the Mi Flash tool content. So I'm using the version 2018 and it's recommended that you use the same build itself, while it's around 5 years old, but it's the only one which is working well and good. So this is the Mi Flash tool. Moving on, you now have to download and extract the ROM. I already shown that, but just to repeat, you could download the ROM from the Xiaomi firmware updater side and then use a third-party app such as 7-zip extractor to extract the ROM from the TGZ format to the TAR format and from TAR to the IMG format. So let me show you, this is the IMG format. Just a minute, let me show you once again. So this is the .tgz, right click on it and select show more option and extract it, and you will get via 7-zip and extract to TAR. Just a minute and you will get a folder. So again extract the TAR file and you will get one more folder, and again extract it and you will get a folder within which you will get all the IMG file, all the flash all files, and within that you will get the images file. So as of now we'll have to supply this entire folder to the Mi Flash tool. So with that said, let's now move ahead to the next step. So with this we have got the Fastboot ROM as well, and now you have to boot your phone to Fastboot mode. So for that you just have to type in ADB reboot bootloader. So make sure that you have enabled USB debugging and file transfer is set. Once that is done, your phone should now boot to the Fastboot mode in a matter of few seconds. So let's just wait for the time frame to, and then we'll move ahead with the next step. So as of now we are in the Fastboot mode and we will now flash the ROM. So first and foremost what you have to do is go to the Mi Flash tool, then click on the Xiaomi Flash, double click to open it, and the tool will now load. It will take only a few seconds. Now click on the select button, and before that it's recommended to go to the driver tab and click on install and make sure to install all these 5 drivers. Likewise also make sure that you have installed the Fastboot drivers. I have made a separate guide and a video on the same. You could refer to my guide and then get this job done. So this is the guide. So go to this guide and install the Fastboot drivers. Anyways, moving on. Now launch the tool. Click on the select button, and now you have to select the folder which you have extracted and within which you have all the images file. So for instance, this is the month original file, and so this is the images folder. So go one level up and select the entire folder. Once you have selected the folder, click on OK, and the firmware is now loaded. Again hit the refresh icon here and your phone should now be shown over here. It might take a few seconds. As you could see, our phone is now shown here. Over here you have to select clean all and lock, and then once everything is set, just click on the flash button and the flashing will now begin. So the flashing is now started. It will now flash the stock firmware and then relock the bootloader as well. The process might take up to a few minutes, so let's wait for that to happen and then we will proceed ahead with the next step. So in the meantime, let me show you what I was saying. So the folder which we have used is exactly this one while flashing the firmware. This is the original file which you will get. So extract it and you will get this folder. Again extract this and you will get a tar file. Upon extracting you will get one more folder. So this is the folder which we have used while flashing the Mi Flash tool under the Xiaomi phone. And inside this we have the flash all and all the other files. So as you could see, the flashing is now going on and it could take up to 8 to 10 minutes for the flashing to complete. So let's just wait for the time frame and then we'll be back. So guys, as you could see, the flashing is now complete. We have got a success message and our phone is now booting to the OS. Do keep in mind that the first boot up will take up some additional seconds. That's completely normal because the phone is setting up from scratch. So let's just wait for a few seconds. And in the meantime, let's discuss something. So as you might have seen, while flashing via the Mi Flash tool, it used the flash all log.bat file. So if you don't want to use the Mi Flash tool, then you could also start the flashing by simply going to the firmware which you have extracted. So in my case, this is the Fastboot ROM which I have got. Simply extract the Fastboot ROM and then use the flash all log file. It's a batch file. Double click to open this flash all log batch file, and once you do so, the flashing will automatically begin in a CMD window, and your flashing will take around the same 500 to 600 seconds as shown in the as shown here in the Mi Flash tool. So it's the same process. Even the Mi Flash tool is also using the same file, which is the flash all log.batch file, and it's given here. So if for some reason you don't want to use the Mi Flash tool or Windows is not allowing you to use this tool, then simply extract the Fastboot ROM and use this flash all log batch file and get this job done. So with that said, I'll now have to sign into my phone and activate this device. So let me do that and then I'll be back. So let's now move ahead with the rest of the steps. As of now, I'll be skipping the initial setup process and take you to the OS, and most importantly, we will check out the bootloader status. So as I have shown you before, there exists a total of 5 methods. So we could use the OS method to get this job done. Regarding the OS method, you just have to go to the developer option and then verify the process from here. So let me show you that you could verify my guide and check out all these methods. I made a video on the same as well. So as of now, simply using the unlock status method will do the job. If you want, you could restore the data right now, or you could do so later on as well. So let me quickly skip the initial setup process and then we'll enable developer option and check out the result. So let me skip all the other stuff. So I have check marked some of the apps which might get installed. That's not an issue because MIUI is itself bloated with tons of pre-installed apps. So a couple of additional apps will not make any much difference. With that said, it's now booting up to the OS, and as I've told you before, the first boot up will take up some delay. That's completely normal. And with this, we are now into the OS, the latest MIUI 14 based on Android 13. So first off, let's go to the settings menu and go to about phone. Then we have to go to detail info and specs and tap on MIUI version 7 times. You will now get a prompt that you are now a developer. So go back, go to additional settings. Then you have to go to developer option, and as you could see, it's showing as OEM unlocking. Toggle is enabled and allow the bootloader to be unlocked. So we could now easily unlock the bootloader using the Mi unlock tool. Likewise, we could also verify the same using any of the Fastboot method. If you want to do so, you could verify the same as well. So anyways guys, on that note, I round up this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. And before rounding off, some of you might have a query that why should we take such a longer approach of carrying out all these tasks when we could simply just flash the Fastboot ROM using the Mi Flash tool and get this job done. Well, in some cases, if the bootloader is currently unlocked, you could simply flash the Fastboot ROM, select clean all and lock, and once you get a success message, then the bootloader will be logged on your phone and you will not have to remove the root or remove the modules or remove a custom recovery. But there are a few cases wherein I have seen that phone has been in a hard brick or a soft brick state. If it's in a soft brick state, then it's not an issue. But if your phone gets hard bricked, then as you might be aware, there is no EDL mode or EDL tool for Xiaomi, so you will not be able to unbrick your phone. Moreover, you will not be able to access the fastboot mode, and if by chance you are able to access the fastboot mode, it will be of no use because the bootloader is currently logged onto our phone. So it's better to be safe than sorry, and while it's a slightly lengthier method, but it's the most safest of all the methods out there. So for one-time usage, I will recommend you to take one step at a time and only first off remove all the modules, then remove the root, then remove TWRP recovery, and then you have to flash the Fastboot ROM using the Mi Flash tool and select the clean all and lock. If that is not working, then choose the flash all log.batch file. So guys, with that in mind, we round up this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching.